Ireland is often regarded as a country of deep-rooted traditions, myths and folklore. Yet it is also a progressive, rational society with advancements in science, technology and education. So why, in a modern and logical Irish society, do superstitions and folklore traditions still persist? Despite the decline of religious belief in some areas and the dominance of empirical reasoning, many Irish people consider to observe customs passed down through generations. Whether it's avoiding fairy forts, respecting old taboos, or following small rituals to bring luck. These traditions, while often dismissed as mere relics of the past, still hold a powerful place in Irish identity and culture. To understand this enduring phenomena, we must explore the origins of Irish superstitions, their evolutions over time, and their persistence in daily life today. Na Dea Díobh Cóide, agus fáilte an Glórsha. If you wish to support this channel, you can do so by liking, subscribing, commenting and sharing. Also, if you wish to donate the price of a coffee for the upkeep of the channel, you can do so by clicking on the above link or going to the link on the About page. Míle buíochas Cóide. One of the most enduring and deeply ingrained superstitions in Ireland is the belief in fairies, or the Sidhe. These beings are not the tiny winged creature of Victorian fairy tales, but rather powerful and mysterious race often described as the remnants of the Tuatha Dé Danann, or the pre-Christian gods of Ireland. The fairies are believed to live in the otherworld, a parallel realm that intersects with our own in certain sacred places such as fairy forts, fairy trees and ancient burial sites. Fairy forts, known in Irish as Laois, Ra or Dún, are circular earthworks scattered throughout the Irish countryside. These structures, often dating back to the Bronze Age or Iron Age, were originally built as ring forts or defensive farmsteads used by early Irish settlers. However, over time, folklore transformed into something far more mystical. Ancient Irish people believed that these forts were inhabited by the Sidhe, powerful supernatural beings who were best left undisturbed. According to myth, when the Tuatha Dé Danann were defeated by the invading Milesians, they retreated underground, taking refuge in these ring forts, caves and burial mounds. From there, they continued to exert their influence over the mortal world, rewarding those who respected them and punishing those who defied them. Even into the Christian era, these beliefs persisted. The early church, rather than directly opposing fairy lore, often incorporated into their teachings. The Sidhe were sometimes described as fallen angels, neither good nor evil, but dangerous to meddle with. As a result, a warning to leave fairy forts alone was passed down through generations, and even today many Irish people remain reluctant to interfere with them. Despite advances in science and skepticism in modern Ireland, fairy forts are still regarded as a sense of caution. Farmers, builders and even government officials have, on occasion, refused to disturb these sites for fear of bad luck or supernatural retribution. One of the most famous modern cases is the Gurt Road controversy in County Clare. In the 1990s, a road project was allegedly rerouted to avoid cutting down a hawthorn tree believed to be a fairy tree. Local folklorist Eddie Lennon passionately argued that interfering with the tree could bring misfortune. Whether or not this claim influenced planners officially, the road was adjusted and the tree still remains today. Another case involves the Irish businessman Sean Quinn, once one of the richest men in Ireland. After his business empire collapsed, some people attributed his downfall to the fact that he built part of his headquarters on a site that was believed to be a fairy fort. While this is anecdotal, it demonstrates how even high-stake modern industry, the fear of fairy rat lingers. Farmers, especially in rural Ireland, often avoid ploughing through or clearing fairy forts, even though it means losing valuable land. Some report strange occurrences, such as equipment malfunctioning or livestock becoming sick, or even after attempting to disturb these sites. While skeptics would dismiss these events as coincidence, the belief remains strong enough that many simply choose not to take the risk. In addition to fairy forts, lone hawthorn trees, also called fairy trees, are also considered sacred. These trees, often found standing alone in fields or at crossroads, are believed to be places where the fairies gather. Cutting down or damaging a fairy tree is considered extremely bad luck. There are stories of construction workers refusing to remove fairy trees and companies deciding to build around them rather than risk misfortune. These superstitions surrounding trees often blend with Catholic traditions, with some people tying ribbons to them as prayers for healing, an example of how pagan and Christian beliefs have coexisted in Ireland for centuries. Additionally, sacred wells, caves and even certain rocky outcrops are thought to be places where the other world and our world meet. People still leave small offerings, coins, food or pieces of cloth at some of these locations as a sign of respect to the spirits that may dwell there. The endurance of fairy lore in Ireland can be attributed to several factors. Superstitions are passed down through generations, often told as bedtime stories or warnings from elders. Even those who don't fully believe in fairies often respect the traditions out of cultural heritage. People are naturally averse to tempting fate, and the belief in fairy attribution provides an explanation for unexplained misfortunes. If bad things happen after someone disturbs a fairy site, it reinforces the superstition. In an age of globalisation, many Irish people take pride in their folklore as something unique to their culture. Even modern pagan and New Age spiritual movements have embraced the fairies as part of their practices. Strange events happen all the time, but when they occur near a fairy fort or after disturbing a fairy tree, people are more likely to connect the dots and believe in supernatural involvement. The belief in fairies and fairy forts remains one of the most strongest surviving superstitions in Ireland today. While most modern Irish people don't claim to believe in fairies in the traditional sense, there is still a widespread reluctance to challenge these old traditions. Even in an era of logic and reason, the stories of the Sidhe continue to whisper through the fields, reminding us that the folklore is not something of the past. It is still alive, shaping Irish identity and superstition in subtle but powerful ways. The Banshee, fairy woman or woman of the other world, is one of the most feared and enduring figures in Irish folklore. She is believed to be a supernatural being who foretells death, her piercing wails serving as a warning to families that someone is close to them will soon pass away. Though modern Ireland is a rational, scientific society, stories of encounters with the Banshee continue to be shared, particularly in rural areas, demonstrating the fear and mystery surrounding her have not faded completely. The legend of the Banshee dates back to early Irish mythology, particularly in connection with the Tuatha De Danann, the mystical pre-Christian race said to have inhabited Ireland before the arrival of the Gaels. The Banshee is often thought to be one of these beings, a spirit bound to the mortal world, tasked with mourning the dead. Some scholars trace the Banshee's origins back to the ancient Irish tradition of keening, or Céantóireacht, a practice where women, often professional mourners, would sing lamentations at funerals. These keeners, who were usually elderly women, were said to have deep connection with the other world. Over time, their wails became associated with something supernatural, evolving into the legend of the Banshee. Another theory is the Banshee may have been a protective ancestor spirit, originally tied to specific noble Gaelic families. Traditionally, it is said that the Banshee only appeared to members of the O'Neill, O'Concabar, O'Brien, O'Griefa and O'Macarthy clans. However, as these families grew and intermarried, the belief expanded and eventually it was said that every Irish family had their own Banshee. The Banshee is typically described as one in three main forms: an old hag, a terrifying shriveled crone with white hair, hollow eyes and ragged clothing, embodying the sorrow of death itself. As a young woman, a sorrowful maiden with long flowing hair dressed in white or grey, symbolising innocence lost to grief, or the washerwoman, known as the Ban-Nee. In Scottish folklore, this version of the Banshee is seen washing bloody clothes at a river, a chilling omen of death. No matter her form, the Banshee is always associated with intense otherworldly wailing, which is said to sound unlike any human cry, a high-pitched, sorrowful keen that strikes fear into those who hear it. The most terrifying aspect of the Banshee is her wail. According to legend, when she is heard crying near a home, it is an omen that someone inside will soon die. In some cases, she is seen as well, but often only her voice is heard, echoing across the landscape. The Banshee is never said to cause death. Rather, she mourns those who are about to die, acting as a messenger of fate. Some stories claim that only certain people can hear her cry, particularly those with strong ties to Irish bloodlines. Others say she appears to multiple people at once, reinforcing her role as a supernatural presence, rather than just an individual hallucination. Though Ireland is now a modern society, belief in Banshee persists in certain areas, particularly amongst older generations. Many Irish families claim to have heard the Banshee's wail before the passing of loved ones. While skeptics may attribute such sounds to the winds or animals, the eerie nature of these experiences ensures that the legend remains alive. Some Well-known modern accounts include a family in County Kerry reportedly hearing wailing sound outside their home at night before their elderly grandmother passed away. The noise, they said, did not resemble any animal or natural sound that they ever heard. A man in County Clare claimed to have seen a woman in white standing in his house moments before receiving a phone call that his brother had died unexpectedly. During the 20th century, an Irish-American family in New York claimed to have heard the Banshee's cry in their apartment before the sudden death of their grandfather. This suggests the Banshee is not bound to Ireland alone, but follows Irish bloodlines wherever they go. Even today, some people refuse to dismiss these accounts outright, and there remains a quiet unease about discussing the Banshee too openly, just in case she might be listening. The Banshee legend is not unique to Ireland. Many cultures have similar supernatural figures associated with death. The Banshee of Scotland is almost identical to the Irish Banshee, but is specifically described as washing the bloodstained clothes of those about to die. The White Lady of European folklore appears in castles and roadsides, often a ghostly figure warning of tragedy. And La Llorona, a figure in Mexican folklore who is said to be the ghost of a woman who lost her children and now wanders near water, crying to bringing bad luck. The presence of similar legends across different cultures. Superstitions surrounding omens have been deeply embedded in Irish culture for centuries. Many of these beliefs centre around animals, natural events, and certain actions that are thought to bring good luck or bad luck. Even in modern Ireland, some of these superstitions continue to hold weight, with people avoiding certain actions, just in case, or acknowledging an old belief in passing conversation. One of the most well-known superstitions involves the magpie, and there are many other omens that still influence Irish life today. Magpies are the most famous omens in Irish and British folklore. The number of magpies seen together is said to foretell future events, usually in accordance with a well-known rhyme. 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for a girl, 4 for a boy, 5 for silver, 6 for gold, 7 for a secret, never to be told. In Ireland, many people still acknowledge the superstition, with some greeting a lone magpie by saying, "Hello, Mr. Magpie, how's your wife?" or saluting it to ward off bad luck. This belief likely stems from the magpie's reputation as a trickster bird, intelligent, mischievous, and often associated with both fortune and misfortune. The magpie has long been considered a bird of mystery and duality. In Celtic tradition, birds are often seen as messengers between the worlds of the living and the dead. The magpie, with its striking black and white plumage, was thought to straddle the line between good and evil, making it a natural subject for omens. During medieval times, magpies were also associated with witchcraft and the supernatural. In some legends, they were thought to be witches in disguise or birds that refused to enter Noah's Ark, forever cursed the result. Their tendency to collect shiny objects, including coins and jewellery, further added to their mystical reputation. Even today, people across Ireland hesitate when they see a lone magpie. While many dismiss superstition as nonsense, others still instinctively nod, salute, or recite a line from the rhyme, just in case. The black cat is another well-known omen, but unlike some cultures where they are seen solely as bad luck, in Ireland, the meaning varies. A black cat crossing your path at night is often considered unlucky. However, in some Irish traditions, a black cat enters a home is a sign of prosperity. This belief may have originated from Celtic pagan traditions where cats were associated with protection and the other world. During the Middle Ages, the association between black cats and witchcraft led to negative connotations, a belief that still lingers in Irish superstition today. Ravens and crows have long been regarded as messengers of doom in Irish folklore. This belief stems from Morrigan, the Irish goddess of war and fate, who is said to take the form of a raven or crow and appear before battles. Seeing a single crow on a battlefield was a feared omen, and it meant that death was near. In rural Ireland, some people still believe that hearing a crow caw 3 times outside a house can be a sign of approaching death or misfortune. Similarly, if a raven lands on a house roof or refuses to leave, it is often seen as an ill omen. Despite these darker associations, crows and ravens are also symbols of intelligence, and in some traditions they are thought to protect against evil spirits. Dogs are beloved animals in Irish culture, but their howls at night have long been considered a bad omen. In folklore, a dog howling without cause, especially 3 times in a row, was thought to be a sign that someone in the household would soon die. This belief may be linked to the legend of the Cooshee, or the fairy hound, a spectral dog said to roam the Irish countryside as an omen of death. The Kushi was described as a large ghostly hound with glowing eyes, and hearing his howl was considered a dire warning. Similarly, an owl screeching near a house was believed to be a sign of bad luck, often foretelling of sickness or misfortune. Because owls are nocturnal and often associated with the unseen world, their cries were thought to be linked to spirits passing between the realms. The superstition surrounding broken mirrors exists in many cultures, and Ireland is no exception. The belief that breaking a mirror results in 7 years of bad luck comes from the ancient idea that mirrors hold a reflection of the soul. Breaking one was thought to damage not only the mirror, but also the person's spiritual energy. To counteract bad luck, some Irish traditions suggest burying the broken pieces under moonlight or throwing them into running water. If salt is spilled on a table, it is often considered a sign of impending conflict or bad luck. The remedy? Throw a pinch of salt over your left shoulder to blind the devil and prevent misfortune. This belief dates back to times when salt was a precious commodity, and wasting it was seen as disrespectful. It is also linked to a Christian tradition, like some saying that Judas spilled salt at the Last Supper, making an omen of betrayal. Despite Ireland's modern rational outlook, these omens continue to be acknowledged in everyday life. There are several reasons why. Many of these beliefs have been passed down through generations and are part of Ireland's storytelling heritage. Superstitions provide a sense of control over uncertain events. Even skeptics may follow them, just in case. Many people recall stories of strange occurrences after seeing a magpie alone or hearing an unexplained howling dog, reinforcing belief in these omens. Ireland has a deep connection to myths and legends. Even in a scientific age, these stories retain cultural significance. The belief in magpies, animal omens, and household superstition may seem outdated in a rational modern Ireland, yet they persist. Whether out of a habit, tradition, or deep-rooted cultural memory, many Irish people still acknowledge these superstitions, even if only in jest. Perhaps these beliefs serve as connection to the past, a reminder of a time when the world was seen full of unseen forces, and everyday life was guided by signs from nature. Even if we no longer fear the single magpie or the howling dog as our ancestors did, we still hesitate before breaking a mirror or walking under a ladder, proving that folklore, no matter how much the world changes, remains an enduring part of Irish identity. One of the most enduring yet lesser known aspects of Irish folklore is the tradition of Piseog. The word Piseog comes from the Irish language and refers to superstitions, charms, or spells often associated with folk magic, curses, and protective rituals. Even in modern Ireland, remnants of the Piseog tradition persist, particularly in rural communities where old beliefs and customs continue to influence daily life. While many dismiss Piseog as merely superstition, their influence can be seen in farming practices, business decisions, and personal rituals, and tend to ward off bad luck. These beliefs, passed down through generations, reflect Ireland's deep connection to the unseen forces of the world and a cultural reluctance to take unnecessary risks when it comes to luck, fate, and misfortune. The tradition of Piseog dates back to centuries. Deeply rooted in pagan beliefs, early Christian influences, and folk magic practices. Long before modern medicine and scientific understanding, Irish people relied on a mixture of herbal remedies, charms, and protective rituals to safeguard their homes, families, and livelihoods. Piseog were particularly strong in agricultural communities, where the success or failure of a crop or livestock could mean the difference between survival and starvation. This led to widespread belief in protective charms to ensure good fortune and in curses to explain misfortunes. People often blamed unexpected hardship, such as sudden death in the family, sick cattle, or a poor harvest, on Piseog performed by jealous neighbours or rivals. Even as Christianity took hold in Ireland, these beliefs did not disappear. Instead, they blended with Christian traditions, with many Piseog incorporating holy water, prayers, or religious symbols as protective measures. Rural communities were, and still are, particularly prone to Piseog superstitions. Farmers have long been known to follow specific rituals to protect their land and animals from bad luck or malevolent forces. Some of these include the evil eye, a belief found in many cultures, particularly strong in Irish folklore. It is said that a person with bad intentions, even unknowingly, can curse another simply by looking at them or their property with jealousy or resentment. A farmer who suddenly lost a cow or had a weak crop yield might suspect that a neighbour had put the eye on their land. To protect against evil eye, people would hang horseshoes, carry a red ribbon, or sprinkle holy water on their animals and property. One of the most feared Piseog in rural Ireland was the act of burying eggs on another person's land or in their cattle shed. This was believed to steal the farm's luck, leading to poor harvests, sick animals and financial ruin for the landowner, while benefiting the person who buried the eggs. Some farmers, upon discovering buried eggs in their property, would burn them or perform counter charms to break the curse. Even today, stories circulate about farmers discovering strange objects, eggs, bones or dolls buried in their fields, and immediately seek spiritual or traditional help to reverse any bad luck. May Eve, or April 31st, was a time when Piseog was particularly feared, as it was believed that it was the night when people performed curses or blessings that would last for the entire year. Farmers would spread holy water on their fields and animals to protect them from curses. It was said that someone walked onto a neighbour's land at dawn on May Day and took some of the dew from the grass. They would steal the farm's prosperity for a year. Some farmers would stay up all night guarding their land to ensure that no one came to take their good fortune. Even today, in some rural parts of Ireland, older generations remain wary of strangers or suspicious behaviour on May Eve, preferring to stay cautious rather than take any risks. Many people carried small charms or talismans to ward off bad luck. These included iron objects such as nails or horseshoes, believed to repel evil spirits, Bridges crossed placed above doorways to protect the home from harm, and salt which is sprinkled in the corners of a new house to keep away negative energies. If a sudden gust of wind swept through a house or farm unexpectedly, it was often attributed to the She or a Piseog curse. Some believed that standing in the path of a fairy wind would bring misfortune or illness. And to protect oneself, people would say a quick blessing or spit on the ground 3 times to ward off bad luck. While Ireland is a progressive and rational society, the echoes of Piseog traditions remain. In rural areas, many farmers still perform protective rituals, even if they don't fully believe them, just in case. Some examples of modern-day Piseog include refusing to disturb fairy forts or lone hawthorn trees, fearing bad luck, avoiding building projects on land rumoured to have been cursed, keeping religious or protective symbols in homes and businesses, and athletes will wear lucky socks, jerseys and follow specific pre-match rituals. Even in cities, the idea of bad luck and curses still linger in everyday life. Many Irish people, even those who claim not to be superstitious, won't walk under ladders, open umbrellas and doors or leave shoes on tables, all of which are considered Piseog from the past. Despite Ireland's modern and scientific advancements, the belief in luck, fate and unseen forces remain deeply ingrained, and there are several reasons for this. The beliefs have been passed down for centuries, woven into Irish storytelling in daily life. Following a small ritual provides a sense of control over uncertainty. In rural areas, many people still observe old customs because their neighbours do, reinforcing traditions. And even skeptics might avoid disturbing a fairy tree or interfering with a Piseog just in case something bad happens. The Piseog tradition is a fascinating example of how ancient beliefs and superstitions continue to influence Irish life. Even in the era of logic and reason, the old ways persist, whether through farming rituals, personal charms, or simply avoiding tempting fate. Whether out of genuine belief or cultural habit, the Irish relationship with luck, curses and protective charms remains strong. And as long as people still acknowledge these traditions, whether seriously or lightheartedly, Piseog will continue to be an enduring part of Irish rich folklore. May Day or Bealtaine is one of the 4 great cross-quarter festivals in Ireland, marking the beginning of the summer and a time when cattle were moved to higher pastures. It was a festival of fertility, protection and purification, with fire playing a central role in the celebrations. It was also a time when the veil between the human world and the other world was considered thin, making it both a powerful and dangerous day. Many traditions associated with May Day were intended to bring good luck and ward off malevolent forces, particularly those of the She, who are believed to be especially active during this time. One of the most ancient and sacred May Day traditions was lighting of bonfires. These were often lit on hilltops and were believed to have protective powers. The largest and most significant fire was at Uisneach in County Westmeath, an important sacred site in Irish mythology. Cattle were driven between 2 fires to cleanse them of disease and bad luck before they were taken to summer pasture. People would jump over the flames for fertility, luck and protection, except if you fall into it. Ashes from the fire were scattered on fields to ensure a good harvest. Even today in parts of Ireland, bonfires are still lit on May Eve, and in some communities, embers or ashes from the fire are used in gardens or homes for good fortune. Because the boundary between worlds was thin on May Day, people believed that it was a time when the Sidhe and witches could steal luck, milk and crops. Many protective customs helped to prevent this. Hawthorn branches, known as the May bush, were decorated with ribbons, flowers and eggshells and placed outside homes for good luck and protection. Holy water, or sacred well water, was sprinkled on fields and animals to prevent misfortune, and doors and windows were kept closed at dawn to prevent the Sidhe from entering the house and stealing prosperity. Cattle were especially vulnerable on May Day, so people often tied red ribbons to their tails and placed iron objects on their briars to ward off witchcraft. A particularly feared Piseog was the belief that a person who skimmed dew from your land on May morning could steal your farm's fertility for the whole year. Because of this, people were suspicious of early morning wanderers and often rose before dawn themselves to protect their land. As a festival of fertility and renewal, Bealtaine was associated with love, courtship and matchmaking. Young men and women would dance around the May bush or bonfire, hoping for luck in love. In some areas, Bealtaine was a popular time for hand-fasting ceremonies, a form of trial marriage that could be renewed or dissolved after a year and a day. Dew collected on May morning was believed to keep a person beautiful and youthful. Some women often washed their faces with it. Even today, in some parts of Ireland, people continue to celebrate Bealtaine with flowers, music and fire ceremonies, reflecting on the festival's enduring connection to love, renewal and protection. Samhain was one of the most important and feared festivals in ancient Ireland. It marked the end of the harvest season and beginning of the darker half of the year. More importantly, Samhain was a time when the boundary between the world of the living and the dead was at its thinnest, allowing spirits and other supernatural beings to cross into our world. Many traditions now associated with modern Halloween, trick-or-treating, costumes and jack-o'-lanterns come from ancient Irish Samhain customs. As with Bealtaine, fire played a central role in Samhain. Large bonfires were lit on hilltops and sacred sites, serving as protective beacons against wandering spirits. Household fires were extinguished and relit from the communal bonfire, symbolising a new beginning for the year. People walked around the fire or jumped through the flames to protect themselves from evil spirits, and ashes from the fire were spread in fields to ensure fertility in the coming year. Even today, bonfires remain a major feature for Halloween celebrations in Ireland, particularly in rural areas. One of the most well-known Halloween traditions, dressing up in costumes, originated from Samhain. The Celts believed that spirits roamed the earth on this night, and in order to avoid being recognised or harmed by them, people wore disguises or masks to confuse the ghosts. In Old Ireland, people blackened their faces with ashes or wore animal skins to blend in with supernatural beings. This practice eventually evolved into modern tradition of wearing Halloween costumes. Even today, Irish children continue the tradition of dressing up in Halloween, unknowingly carrying out an ancient Samhain practice. During Samhain, it was necessary to leave food and offerings outside home to appease wandering spirits and the Sidhe. This practice later influenced the tradition of trick-or-treating. People often left plates of food for deceased family members who were believed to return home on this night. To avoid angering the Sidhe, families left milk, bread or nuts outside their doors. And if a spirit was not given a proper offering, it was believed that they would bring bad luck to the household. Today, trick-or-treating remains a strong tradition in Ireland, keeping alive the old belief that appeasing spirits through gifts. May Day and Samhain are two of the most significant seasonal festivals in Irish tradition, deeply rooted in the ancient cycles of nature, the supernatural and the otherworld. Despite Ireland's modernisation, these customs have not disappeared, rather they have evolved. Bealtaine continues to be a time of fertility and protection rituals, with echoes in May bush traditions and bonfire celebrations. And Samhain remains a night of supernatural activity and ancestral remembrance, now transformed into the Halloween festivities that are celebrated worldwide. These traditions remind us that folklore, even when adapted, still hold a powerful influence in Irish culture, a connection to the past that continues to shape how people mark the passing of the seasons. Despite Ireland's transformation into a modern rational society, folklore and superstitions continue to play an important role in everyday life. Some persist because they are ingrained in our cultural identity, while others remain out of habit or nostalgia. Even those who don't believe in fairies, omens or curses often still respect these traditions, even if only as a nod to the past. Folklore has always evolved to reflect a changing world, yet its core remains intact. The Irish people, even in an age of science and technology, still hold onto these traditions, perhaps as a way to stay connected to their ancestors, their land and their unique heritage. Whether for fun, caution or deep-seated cultural belief, Irish superstitions and folklore continue to weave their way through our modern lives, proving that the past is truly never gone. Sinead Scale, it's Misha de Leror Shonatuma, Gurmahagut Asta Quid Vortama, August Arish, Sloan, Gofol.